Okay.
communication
I'm a
approach.
little bit late.
So
Oh well.
some new features, they make it just easier to learn about
What?
what's going on around you and make good choices.
So if I talk about me personally, I have tried about of mining with some of my characters, and my biggest problem is figuring out which ore is valuable and which one is not, and then specifically in a site for which one of the many asteroids do we pick.
Yes.
This is going to help with that, right?
That
The
is
ones in
one of the biggest
Wolfset.
focuses we had for this expansion, and we, I think, have come up with a feature that players are going to be very happy with for communicating at a glance and then in detail what type of value you can expect from different oils, especially relative to each other. So if you know you're faced with, oh look, there's dense feldspar and there's scordite, which one of those is going to be the most valuable? That's a very common thing that a new player might be presented with in a high sec belt. And there is a correct answer right now with the current market prices at scordite, and this UI will make it a lot easier for players to learn that.
All right, then.
Hmm.
I mean, we can talk about it at length, but I think we're just gonna show it off.
Yes, indeed.
That's why you've got the laptop in front of you. So let's use it.
So I'm going to go ahead and warp us to a mining anomaly. This is one that we've spawned in this space on the test server for us to take a look at. And this particular mining anomaly
I'm gonna
is one that
put
is going
myself
to be spawning
here.
in HiSec as a rare spawn starting with the expansion. So this is a site that has existed in its previous forms in HiSec, but we're bringing it back and with a big facelift. So if you take a look around, this is a much more impressive looking version of the large Kernite and Ombre deposit.
Okay, it
This
looks
site is
pretty.
one that if you are scanning around, traveling from system to system in HiSec, you might now find if you're nice and lucky. And I'm here in a retriever, and we're about to show off one of the new features, which is this right here. This is the Mining Surveyor. So it is a new built-in feature that all mining ships from Ore and all of the Empire Corvettes have. And it really
Corvettes?
does a lot of the
Oh.
job that used to be dedicated to a specific module, the survey scanner.
Yeah.
But it does it in a much more visual way. So I'll go ahead and activate it. And you get to see it scans out in a big radius around and highlights the asteroids in the area around us.
And structures. Interesting.
It does relative ore value, with low being the blues and then yellows as the high end. Basically like a heat map type of concept, and you can see at a glance which asteroids are going to be the higher value. So in this particular site, you can see Ombre here is the higher value, and Kernite is, oh, there we go. Actually, this one is showing the Ombre higher grade ones as being lower value, but that's because of the fact that people buy Ombre for running missions to trade in. We're actually looking at improving some of these estimates to use the refined value. At the moment, this is using the average market trade value on the market, which tends to look very good for base Ombre and not quite as good for the high-end version because of
I mean,
but as you can see here, there's another set of information that we've placed into the UI. This is information that appears when you have the Mining Surveyor active. You can see the estimated value per meter cubed, so you can compare apples to apples, even if ores have different volumes. You can see which is going to give you the most money per minute. You can see
yippee, more min-maxing.
version of the scanner, the total estimated value of the entire rock, and the quantity of the rock as well. So I'm going to target it. Now that I've targeted, I can see the exact value, and I'll go ahead and start mining.
Also maybe just to mention a little bit, there are a few things that we're seeing here. So like first off, like we're coming into the belt, and a moment when you're scanning something is a really cool moment. You like press scan, and we wanted to just make that experience a little bit better, and also like as I said, like we're taking the scanner and we're adding it to all our mining ships now in game, so it's not, you don't have to have a module installed for it.
I mean, yeah, that is a big.
And I think it's really cool to be able to like, yeah, we added a lot of effort to make it cool, but also just to have some functionality behind it. So yeah, I think we got a good job.
Okay, so basically they just made the module a feature.
So you can see
a
the highlighting
feature.
disappear now because it fades out after a little while. You can always press the button again. Oh, there it is. Got a crit. We'll talk about that later. But I'll activate the Mining Surveyor again, and you can see I refresh it. You get the nice audio, which is actually a slightly different audio for every asteroid that it passes, every asteroid type.
Yep.
And you can see it highlights the asteroids that are mineable and separates them out from the asteroids. Like this over here is a decorative asteroid station asset. You can't actually mine this, even though it looks a bit like an asteroid. And that can be something that can be a bit tough to realize sometimes. Same out here, where this is a mineable asteroid, but the thing behind it there isn't. And the highlighting makes it much easier to see which things are mineable, and you're seeing which ones aren't.
now I'm also seeing just above your ship a little circle icon that is slowly filling up. Can you tell
Yes,
me about
indeed.
that one?
So this is a new indication for your mining hole. So I'll hover over
What?
it. You can see it's got 15% listed there. And this
Oh.
is letting me know how much of my mining hole is filled up.
Oh, okay, that is
It's a
neat.
nice at-a-glance representation that you can see, and it'll, as you, it fills
Yeah.
up, you'll see it, and then it'll actually turn yellow when it's almost, or orange when it's almost full, and then brighter orange when it's full. And then if you zoom out, then it gets out of the way there. But if you zoom back in, then it's right there, ready for you to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think this is also a really good point talking about this because like, also the brackets that we have here is all like serving the purpose of getting more information in the scene. So it's like taking all the information we have in windows and scattered around places and making it so that the players have information, like looking at the ship, looking at the asteroids, you know, that Eve is so beautiful, so we want players to be able to just enjoy the scene more and get the information there. So that's like one of the like big overarching things that we're doing, and really happy that.
So just UI improvement, which
Now, I also want to talk about a little bit we're calling it the expanded bracket. So in here we're going to select the
I mean, yeah.
asteroid, you get this
module gets
and
becomes a feature for every mining ship,
you can
but
just click it and you can see it like quite quickly. So this is something that we're starting with here, but we want to introduce in other places in the game. So like being able to like interact with something, get more information about it just there right away. You don't have to right click and get shown.
okay, okay, that is going to be very nice actually.
Information like the quantity of the asteroid here. This is information that if you had the survey scanner before, it was available, but it's now in Space Sim. Just you don't have it in a separate window. But if you still want it in a separate window, we have the ability to open the scan results window, and then you
Oh.
get a window that is very familiar for folks who've used the survey scanner before. That works very much the same, except it's got more information. It's got that value per unit. It's got the total value for the asteroids. You can sort and see which asteroids within this have the highest value.
Okay.
In this case, quantity, and how far away they are.
It
And this
shows
still
all
has all the
the
same functionality.
this shows all the asteroids in the site, right? Not just the one. Obviously, not just the one you
Yeah.
have targeted.
So this shows all the asteroids that you've got scanned. And again, works very much like the old survey scanner, except one of the big differences is this survey scanner doesn't have a limited range anymore. So
Oh,
it had some
the
ships that
limited
had
range, oh.
survey scanner range,
Hmm.
and those are just being rolled back, and they're going to have bonuses to the other scanners.
Okay, let me
but this
just
survey scanner
quiet
just
them.
has great range. And
Okay, so that's all nice. New UI shit.
And this gives you some extra information. So
What?
if you didn't have something like this, or if you weren't in a fleet with a command ship like a Rorqual or an Orca, then you wouldn't get the exact details of the quantity. You'd still get the estimated value, so that would be something that you would have built in no matter what to the mining ship. But then this module gives you that upgrade information, shows you the quantity details, and also gives you bonuses to your critical success yield bonus, your critical success chance, and your chance of getting residue on it.
Okay, so the UI think if it gets to other stuff is going to be very nice. A massive quality of life improvement,
So it's a random
which is
special success you can get on any mining cycle.
positive for now. And they're going to talk about critical.
Script minder here, and you can see there's some new attributes, and these will be appearing on all of the different mining lasers, including
Yeah,
ice,
critical,
mining
whatever.
lasers, ice harvesters as well. And you can see here at the moment, because of I've got a skill trained. There's 2 new skills related to this that have been added, and I've also got the mining survey chipset module. I've got a 1.8% crit chance, and then when I do get a crit, I get a 300% bonus yield. So on top of the normal yield that I would get from that mining laser cycle, I get an extra 300%. So I
Okay, so if you mine 1,000, you get also another like 3,000 on top, so for a total of 4,000. But well, that is nice. It's was going to be like at max 3% chance, so it's negligible.
Quite a bit faster than they used to be, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
this is
so
important
we've,
shit.
gone
The
through
mining
and sped up
cycles.
the mining cycles for all of the standard mining lasers and strip miners. Not for ice harvesters, because those have a bit of a distinct role as a slower module for a bit more of a chill vibe. But for the ore mining lasers and for the gas harvesters, they now operate faster. For the mining lasers, it's about 4 times faster.
Okay.
That means that each cycle is about 1/4 the duration.
So instead of like
1/4 the
60
amount.
for
So you get the same
normal,
amount
it's on
every time,
15,
but
so
just in smaller chunks, so you get faster feedback. It's a shorter amount of time between when you start mining and when you start having things in your hole, basically, so you get a bit more instant gratification. And connected to that, we've changed the way that some of the rounding works when you have remainder left over after the yield of your mining lasers. In the past, that's always rounded down, and that's been something that's been in place since 2003 in EVE. But we've changed that to be a randomized system that takes into account the probability relationship with the amount of remainder you had. So you now will get, on average, the same amount of ore that it says on the tooltip. You'll get this much volume per 45 seconds on average, even though the ore that you're mining doesn't divide perfectly into that number. It means you'll sometimes get one extra unit to make up the difference.
Now, you mentioned that for the ice miners, the cycles are not going faster, but for gas mining and ice mining in particular, are all these features going to be on those sites as well? Or is
They
it
are
just
indeed. Yep.
asteroids?
So mining crits will be applying to them as well. And the mining cycle speed doesn't change, but things like the survey chipset applies to them. Things like
Okay, I don't
the,
care about ice
the
mining.
eyes and the scanning. You'll be able to look at which ices in an ice mining site are giving you the highest value using the mining surveyor. All that applies to them as well. Yeah.
Sweet. It will definitely help the learning curve, I think.
Yes, indeed.
Now, one other thing that I noticed was on your target asteroid, I also see a little circle counting down.
Yes.
Is that the amount of ore that's left in it?
Yes, it is. So we've essentially taken the amount of quantity of ore left in the asteroid and treated it like hit points and placed it in the targeted item. So you can see as it goes down as you're mining it, and you'll see as other people are mining it as well, it'll continue to drop. It's a little bit small, so you have to look very closely to
Let
see
me
it,
just
but also
check
as you
something.
mine, you can see little bits disappear, and if you get a crit, you'll see a bigger bit disappear, and it also lets you know when there's residue too, so you'll see a little bit of the residue reflected there when you get it as well.
We used to have that in the scene as well. I think in the mass test it was
Yeah.
like in a circle in the asteroid, but we got some feedback that like it started to become a bit too overwhelming having all of that stuff there. So yeah, it made sense to keep it in there.
That's actually a really good point because I believe it was 2 weeks ago, right now-ish, sort of, when we did the mass test on CC, where everyone
Yeah.
got access for a little bit to try and help us out with developing this feature. Were there any other points of interest that you noticed during that mass test that we took on board?
What
now,
was
Yeah, there absolutely was. One good example is back then, this scale of colors from low to high value had green in the middle instead of being more white in the middle. And we got some feedback from players that they were finding that confusing because green can easily be construed as just being the best, right?
Green is good.
Yeah, green is positive. And so we made some adjustments to this color scheme for that. Like Unison said, we moved the actual mining volume.
Okay, so if I saw it correctly, gonna put hover mouse over a certain manner so I can see the ore amount mined. Because this is like, oh, it's 4 times as fast, but you know, mining yield is only half, that is still like twice as much than before.
Well, is that it's very easy to warp to an asteroid belt in a high-sec system that's maybe very busy, like one of the starter systems, and it's already been mined out by other players that day, or already been mostly mined out. And it can be a little bit confusing when you know what's going on. You land at the location, and you don't see any asteroids, and it's not necessarily very clear. So what we've done is we've added a new little bit of introductory messages to work it into an asteroid belt that you're going to see once we land, that lets you know what asteroid belt you've landed on, and then gives you some information in a rough sense about how mined out that location is. And this will apply to anomalies when you warp right to them as well, but also to asteroid belts. You're going to see here in a moment, once warp right back disappears. There we go. So this is letting you know the depletion status, large end touch. This is one that people haven't mined in yet, but if it's already mined out, that'll let you know. And that's just a nice little bit of extra.
Okay, that is
It gives you some information about where you are. And this is
neat
something
little
that
thing,
is well
but
received. So this feature, I think we'd really like to expand to other things. Like this is the kind of message that would be great to see when you warp to a narrative landmark, for instance.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, exactly. So like super cool, just making the moment a bit more like more nicer. And like we have, I don't don't know if you noticed, but when you were warping in, we have like a little bit of a camera control where it's focusing on the belt. So yeah, so
Yeah.
we're excited about that.
Scan
Turn that
distance
option
you see
immediately
the
off.
high value Mercoxit there stood out a little bit with the yellow. One of the things you'll notice when you're looking at these is we've changed some of the naming of these asteroids. So another thing that's very confusing for a lot of players, both new and old, is you have to memorize a whole lot of adjectives when you're mining right now. Knowing the difference between what is dense Feldspar versus condensed scordite.
Oh, those,
all
yeah.
these different prefixes that represent plus 5%, plus 10%, plus 15% variations of the different ores. It's something that's great if you've memorized them all, but nobody really has them all memorized. And so we've simplified this hugely. Now you see the standard ore, and then you see a different grade label on them that's set up in a way that it's nice and easy to sort by, both in space and in your inventory, if you want to be able to sort it by name that way. And then we've put a lot of the information about what the names used to be, because a lot of these had narrative storyline connections, into the descriptions. So we've preserved the narrative of the game in the descriptions, but in the names we've just simplified it right down. So 2 grade is better than having no prefix, and 3 grade is even better than that.
Sounds nice and easy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's one more thing that we have done to make things nice and easy.
Yes, indeed. But for that, I'm going to warp to another location here, because for that you need to be near a command ship.
You do indeed.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to.
I guess a little bit of UI fixes, but
A new command burst we've added, and also a new shortcut that we've added.
yeah. No. So
Press all ore invention. So this will.
the ore amount, cargo holds aren't going to get bigger, which would be nice if you're mining more, technically speaking, over time, so you don't have to go station back constantly.
And you can set it to whatever you want. This is something you could potentially keep as a default as well, but we're going to start out with just having it standard. One thing to note here about the command burst here, so getting some command burst.
Yeah, but how should I put this? Yeah, the early game for new players might be slightly better. However, we shall see with the, what is it called, Epic Arc? Yeah, the Epic Arc. If the Epic Arc can do a good job of introduction to mining and industry, because industry right now is very much, if you are in a megacorp, mega alliance, you're set. If you're a new player, even thinking going solo, you're fucked. However, biggest issue.
A set of ammo for the command burst that gives you extra crit chance and
Don't care about that.
So much.
all the space in the world. Again,
3,200. I'm going to guess that is with the boost with the
that is running passively on another machine, so it might have run.
That has been running for a little while
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
so maybe it has
But
just
yes, there's a
run
new
out.
command burst. It adds crit chance and it adds.
so basically from what I'm seeing, the mine amount should be around either the same or like 30% lower, which is not bad in general. Like, again, another nice thing which for especially new players would be, I don't think it exists, and that is like mining hold expansion, because you have the cargo hold expansion, but you don't have the mining hold expansion modules. You have for mining yield, whatever. I don't think.
Other mining features coming in this expansion?
Yeah, there is.
These features are set up to be usable by everyone in any kind of mining, whether you're mining the new sites, you're mining the old sites. The hope here is that just the mining experience will be better across the board.
And any type of space, right?
Yes, in any type of space. And no matter where you're mining, you'll get access to the new surveyor, you'll get access to the faster cycles, to the new modules, to the new skills, and you'll be able to use them to improve your mining experience.
Sweet. Then I will thank both of you for your time. Thank you for coming on and explaining what is about to happen. We are going to go to a quick holding screen and we're going to switch out guests and we'll have CCP Nomad and CCP Kestrel here in a few minutes. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So I'm going to quickly switch to this. Okay. I'm not sure how good my skills are. Yeah, there's a whole bunch that gives you better yield, but if I just quickly like decide to throw in modulated strip miner, and then I throw complex asteroid mining crystal tech 2, let's say type A. In 180 seconds, 1530 cubic meters, without boost, without anything, which should fill the hold in like 20 minutes, 10, I don't know. And from what I've seen, you should on average get more mining done actually. Got shorter cycles, but also 4 times as fast mining, but not that less mining yield. Maybe like 30%, which is still more than fine. However, there are a couple things that I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so the new UI shit, good. The module is now going to be a little bit reworked, but it's also going to be the survey a feature now of every mining ship, which is good. Okay, they're back. But the problem with the mining in EVE for new players is that the new player experience sucks. It's not like mining is bad or combat is badly made or whatever. It's the general new player experience is either you play the game for a day, you say, okay, I'm having fun, you join the Megacorp and go immediately to nullsec, and you just go do end game, or you quit the game. Or option 3 is you do level 1 missions for the rest of eternity. There is like, if you go 1% to 100% being the game, you do the 1% of the game, which is the very beginning, or you do the, end game. There is no early game. There is beginning, there is no early game, there is no mid game. There is no late game, there is only end game. So that is my biggest issue, because I can rework that mining all they want to do with that. It won't change the main issue.
Like ice fields always respawn in the same system all the time on a set timer. And then we do have like the really rare like red border site that spawns in high sec between on the edge of like high sec and low sec in 0.5 systems. But again, like they're always spawning in the same predictable systems. So we really wanted to just add a site that while you're just moving around through high sec, you can just find this like really cool on the side and make some money. Yeah.
Sweet. Everyone likes making money, I think. Which is why the new phase field sites are going to be super interesting because they are going to be very high value, aren't they?
Yes, that's the goal, to make them very valuable. So we are introducing new type of mining sites, new type of mining gameplay, essentially with those sites. So those new sites will be the most valuable mining sites in the game. They will be rare and they will be risky. So those sites you will be able to find in low sec and null sec for now. Those are the primary areas where those sites will appear. And
Makes sense.
their rarity comes with the fact that they are so profitable. As in, the value of the site is in tens of billions ISK of the ore in the site.
Mhm.
But also, those sites will contain the new mineral or new type of ore, which is called prismaticite, which also will be the most expensive ore there is to mine in ETH. So mining prismaticite in those new phased field sites will be the most profitable mining activity in the game by far. So making those sites very attractive. But since they will be
Oh wow, more in-game content. Who the fuck saw that coming? I sure didn't.
Mining operations quite risky because those sites will expose themselves after a while, letting everyone know that those sites are in this particular system. So people mining there should be wary.
That is good knowledge to have. CCP Festival, can you
It's not like
explain
fucking
how this
organized
site
people
works?
will be able to mine that
Possibly
shit
by
in
showing it
a
off.
minute.
Sure, yeah. So I'm in one of the sites right now. One thing that I didn't show off is like how you get into this site normally, and that's going to be discovering it with scan probes. These will appear very rarely in those and for the first half of the duration of these sites, on average they'll last around 30 hours, and after it's gone, well, after this fracture's sort of gone past the halfway line, this site will become exposed and every single person will be able to see it on the map, as well as anyone that's in the solar system, they will be able to see it on the overview and walk to it directly from the overview.
Have we got an exposed one right now?
Yes, so this one that I'm in right now is exposed.
30?
There is also some other ones that are exposed.
I was about to like say like,
One I'm
oh,
in here is exposed, but
it's
then
going
also
to be
there's
there
some
for
other
like
ones
2-4 hours.
manually spawned, so you can see that they're here, and if I wanted to, I could just walk to this from the overview instead of scanning it down first.
So what does it look like on the map if we pull that up?
I don't think that is implemented
can.
yet.
Putting you on the spot, I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. It is. I wasn't sure if it came in pretty hot. You can see that there's an exposed phase field here, and over here there's another one here, for example, and then there's another one over here.
Is
So
that
you-
a specific filter down there in the bottom? That I'm now just seeing.
Yes, there is a mining filter here, and then we also have a phase filter, and then you can also, like, for example, add that to your.
I'm more interested about the new map than
discoverable on the map.
that fucking ore.
Sweet, and then you warp into the site. This one is about halfway now. Normally they look slightly different, but tell me about what I'm seeing.
Right, so the site has a rift that kind of goes through it from the start point over through to the end point, where this phase fill thing is the start point. So normally this thing that's called the fracture, which is a sphere, that will start here and it will slowly move through the site down through the fracture until it reaches the end, at which point the site is over. While there is a asteroid in a phased asteroid in this fracture that will become activated or breached is the word we're using. So they can then be mined. You cannot mine them when they are not in the fracture, and when the fracture moves past them, they become collapsed. So this one over here, I'm not clicking on the prismatic side. I am doing bad.
No.
But yes, this one, there we go. This one has collapsed because the fracture has already moved past it. So now it's unable to be mined.
Oh.
So this
Oh.
one that my Whirlpool
So the bubble moves,
is,
okay.
it is breached, but we haven't phased it in yet.
So what does the phasing in mean?
So what's important in this layout is that the sites cannot be completed by just dropping more people on them, because there's a cadence to those sites, right? Like each site will last, let's say, 40 hours, maybe 50 hours, and the ore, prismaticite specifically, will be available in those sites only at specific times, depending on where the fracture is relative to those phased asteroids in the site. So the site cannot be completed fully, and at the beginning it is hidden. So who finds it first has about half of the lifetime of the site to mine undercover,
So
essentially.
let's say 20 hours ish.
Let's say, yeah. And that would mean two first phased asteroids, two first asteroids with the prismaticite will be mineable while the site is still not exposed. After that, it becomes exposed, and those last two phased asteroids are much more viable than the first ones.
More risk, more reward.
Yes, exactly.
Now, this particular.
More risk. No, more risk, less reward.
Now, a little line saying 10% efficiency. Can you explain a little about that?
Yeah, so normally when this has not been phased in yet, you can only mine prismaticite at 10% efficiency. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to deploy a mobile phase anchor deployable. These are fairly cheap. They're going to cost around 5 million ISK to build based on the current prices. And a Rorqual, Orca or Poipus, so the three industrial command ships, are able to connect to it to start phasing it in. I'm in a Rorqual, which provides 100 energy, which is enough to phase it in by itself. But the Orca provides 50 energy, so you'd need you need two Orcas instead of a Rorqual, or you'd need 3 Poipuses, or you could also do a combination like 2 Poipuses and 1 Orca.
Alright, and we have a new. I love that you're ahead of me here. I was just gonna ask you to show the user manual because this is a new addition to the show info window, and it does a great job explaining how this works.
Yep.
So we were thinking about how to explain this feature. Many moving parts, essentially. Other times in if we explained some complexity on the showing of modules or ships if they had special roles, but here we are talking about a site that doesn't have a card for it specifically. And initial idea was like, let's put some information in the agency as we usually do, and we do it this time as well. But additionally, we wanted to explain some specifics for the prismaticite or the phased asteroid.
Okay, that is cool.
And same for the deployable. How does it work and why you should be using it and how to use it. So we came up with this idea of introducing user manual tab in showing from window for some specific items where we provide instructions, essentially how to use this thing or how to behave around it or how to exploit it. And we are adding now this user manual only for those new elements in the game, but we'll expand that and we'll be adding them to other items in the game that you can show info on just to explain them better.
Is it gonna be retroactively or just new items from here on out?
It's some retroactively for sure, because for example today most of that information is in the item description, and that is usually mixed with the lore, with the narrative. So we want to give this space a specific purpose, just explain what this is and how to use it, while the description can still provide some information about the lore or the narrative of that.
Super cool. Now, if we go back to our mining site, you have deployed the anchor. You have connected to it, I believe. So what's next?
Yeah, so now this asteroid is phased in. One thing that's worth mentioning as well is the phase anchor has 10 charges. I used one of the charges, and this will be phased in now for several minutes. I've just hopped into Retriever to start mining it. That was in my Rorqual, just to demonstrate the mining a bit better.
Well, there
We're
is.
able to get
I mean, yeah,
100%,
it's a
and you
null
can see some
sec.
information here that it's phased in now on the bracket, and we also have some information about when it's going to collapse as well. This will collapse in about 6 hours.
So if you zoom out now, have you just kind of pulled the asteroid out of the fracture, or is it just like more visual?
It's been phased in, so before it was kind of invisible and it was hard to see it. We might have an example of one that's like a bit further up there. This one is not reached yet, so it looks a bit different, but there's different graphics for each one. So this one here is.
It looks kind of cloaked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not there yet.
Yeah.
Right, so you cannot really interact with it. You can see this information on the expanded tooltip about time until it reaches.
Mm-hmm.
So this allows you to prepare a mining operation. Like if you see, okay, the next asteroid will reach in 5 hours, then you have 5 hours to get there. But
Get your
also,
fleet together.
yeah, but also maybe some hunters have seen that information too, and they will be ready when you come. So you have to consider that.
Okay. Now, is there anything else we have missed about the site so far about how the phased field works?
So mainly, this is
Wait, what?
collaborative site, as it requires multiple roles. Like regular sites, you can just go alone and mine them. Here too, you can go yourself or in a very small group without any command ships, industrial command ships, and just mine regular asteroids. because regular asteroids will then site as well, and
34,375
those
with
are-
a retriever.
Yeah, and those are all like grade 3 and grade 4, so like the best variants of the ores that are available.
Wait,
So
wait, wait,
even
wait,
if you come here on
Wait,
without
wait, wait.
intention of mining the prismaticite, you can still make a very good money just mining the other ore. But when it comes to prismaticite, you have to get a team. You need at least either one oracle or 2 orcas or 3 purposes to manage the deployable. And you have need multiple deployables because they are expendable. You cannot scoop them back.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. My biggest. Holy shit, I'm like. My knowledge and predictability knows no fucking bounds because what I said, like yesterday, was like, oh, do you know what would be nice? If all mining ships get a 50% cargo mining hold increase. Because right now, the Retriever has a mining hold capacity of 27,500, and here it's 34,370. Let's do calculation actually. I think it might be straight up 50%. Okay, it's not 50%, it's 30% increase, which is still very good. Damn, I'm good.
Should open this site.
No, not for now. I mean, these sites will be risky enough
That would be
without the
players.
NPCs.
Yeah.
There might be some NPCs that show up when you mine some of the regular asteroids, the ones that can spawn in like the regular like low
Mhm.
security and low security belts. But there's like no difficult NPCs. Like you won't need to bring like a mission ship or a defense ship to like handle the NPCs or anything like that.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, I think enough about the phase fields and how they work. I think we've covered most of it. Let's talk about the prismaticite. As this is rather special also, isn't it?
Yes, it is a new type of ore. We are calling these erratic ores, and this is the first one. So, in nature, what's different about it is the fact that when reprocessed, it produces various outputs every time. So, could you reopen the showing folder? No worries. Right, so in the industry tab of regular asteroids, you will see that Veldspar reprocesses into titanium, and you will see the quantity it reprocesses into. When it comes to prismaticite, you have a list of 8 minerals that it can reprocess into, and it reprocesses, every batch reprocesses into one of those 8 at random, and with random quantity. So you can see the quantities, the minimum and maximum quantities of units indicated in the show info. And the quantity of the output is random between those 2 values. So in the example here, in the top right corner, where we have the reprocessing window open, you see that we have a lot of prismaticite. This is like 1 million batches, right? So 100 million units.
We're gonna be rich.
Yeah, and we had to rework this window to support the fact that now the outputs can be varied, that they are not deterministic. So if you have multiple ores dropped here, the window will divide to show which ones are deterministic, which ones are not. And in this tooltip that we are showing right now, you will see the actually modified quantities depending on the facility efficiency and your skills that you are using to see what are the min and max quantities for each of the minerals per batch. Right? One batch is 100 units as for any other ore.
Okay, that's what I fucking wanted to know. Took you long enough.
Element of taking a risk to reprocess it in the trying to make it more profitable or more valuable, because the prismaticide of course will have its own value depending on the market and the supply and demand, but depending on how lucky you are with reprocessing, you may get more value if, for example, instead of tritanium you will get more morphite or isogen or zidrine instead. So you can try your luck and reprocess it and see what you get, or you can actually control the output. You can decide that I want isogen out of it by using this new ore prismaticide in reactions. So here we are seeing the industry window where we have a reaction for unrefined isogen that consumes compressed prismaticide and requires some low moon materials. I cannot see what moon material it is. This one, atmospheric gases, right? And the output is 100 units of unrefined isogen. So we are introducing a new type of minerals that are called unrefined minerals, and those are coming as the output of those reactions. So you don't get pure isogen out of this reaction, but rather unrefined isogen that then you have to reprocess into isogen, so that the efficiency of the reprocessing facility and the skills come into play here. And also the unrefined minerals have undetermined quantity on the output. They have only min and max, and the quantity varies between like for each batch. So there's a lot of new complexity for the industrialists to put into their Excel spreadsheets.
Okay, so let me break it down easily. You have blueprints that, so either you can, with the prismaticide, gamble on what you get and how much you get per batch, so per 100 units, or you can get one of these, use moon materials, what I'm going to guess all of them need, and only get one. That's not complex, that's very simple. Either you gamble or you know, I need isogen, I need tritanium, I need mexalion, whatever.
Prismaticide, but for the reprocessing itself, we imagine that miners that don't necessarily are manufacturers at the same time, they will be reprocessing the ore, they will be training the skills for it, just to see what kind of outcome they are getting. On average, of course, players will figure out what is the value of the prismaticide, and that will be its market value. So reprocessing a big batch will probably average out, and you may want to do that anyway because you will get more value depending on the market situation.
I mean, yeah. So either you gamble and just get a little bit of everything, or you know, hey, this is now very expensive, let's go reprocess prismaticide into that. This is now expensive, let's go. Of course they're going to do that because they're going to like compare, hey, 100 of these I get randomized. However, if I, you know, do X amount and, you know, compare like, is it worth reprocessing 1,000 of this into compressed and then compressed into this? Like, will I get more value from that than just selling the ore? Which, you know, okay. But for industrialists, it's a little bit better because you take the prismaticide ore and you need 100 million of that. Convert all of that into that. We have everything else, we just need that. Let's not go you know, look for that ore and whatnot.
Alright, I think that covers most of the topics we had for today, unless CDPK still thinks we've missed anything.
I think we've got everything.
Sweet, then just to summarize, the phase fields are going to be in Losag and in Nullsag. If you want to go ninja mining, you can, because there is high valuable ore in the site.
Yeah.
If you want to go for the prismatic side, you have to time well and bring people. Plus
Yes.
command ships.
Plus the bottles. You have to be prepared too. I mean, you can mine it at 10% efficiency and you still will come off better than mining or in HiSec, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if you can make it so that you can mine it at 100% efficiency, then that's the best mining, most valuable mining activity in the game.
Alright, so come prepared. I think on that note we will close off this stream. Thank you both for coming, and I hope we have given you guys more information about what is gonna come to the game in a little less than 2 weeks at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me quickly switch back to Eve because yeah, that is over. Okay, so new UI, mining rework, all of that. However, also they're going to add the mining destroyer which should bridge between the frigate and the barge. But that is either going to be talked in the future or not, I don't know. However, Prisma site, I don't know how to say ninja mining. Okay, for Prisma site, the first two, if you can find it, it's like in Frontiers Eve, fuel. And I haven't played that game in a very long time, so I don't know the current state. However, just like that fuel, if you can find it first, you have a huge advantage. Obviously, the fuel in Frontiers, you can immediately mine all of it. Especially if you have a buddy or two, you tell them, they come, they mine it before anybody else. However, Prisma site is basically delayed. If what they said was like 40 hours, so it starts and each 10 hours is a new Prisma site, roughly. Which gets unlocked, then you can mine it. Which means the first two, if you can find it somewhere where there is not a lot of people, you can organize yourself pretty well, you can snatch basically the first two for free. The other two, as they said, the rift gets revealed on the map after the halfway point. However, it becomes infinitely more risky because you gotta scan and you gotta do all that. Maybe you're not looking for it. If you're not looking for it, but you find it, like, oh, lucky. But usually, okay, they are, but not all of them are going to be looking for the rifts. So either you gotta be really lucky, or wait for the halfway point to show on the map if you're not have good scanning skills and ship and whatnot. But if you do, with your buddies, the first two are basically low risk extremely high reward, which is pretty neat. However, the other two will be high risk, high reward, I guess. But again, high risk, high reward. But if this somehow gets to CCP, yeah, the industry needs a little bit of rework. However, can I make one tiny suggestion? The mining frigate and the mining destroyer both are going to be alpha. The mining barges would be very nice if they could also be alpha. Essentially, if you already have them, you can fly them, but if you don't, for like new players, oh, you need now Mining Destroyer 3 on top of all this. However, still usable by alpha. That would be very nice, because now I'm recording this before the update, but after the update, the mining free, let's say we said how much, 30% increase in the mining hold cap, which is, thank you, skill training, 50 plus 30%, so that is 6,500 if they're going to increase every mining ship's mining hold, which is nice, but you mine also 4 times as fast, which is 400% increase in mining yield, but also decrease. I mean, I haven't seen really it be that much decreased mining yield per cycle. Maybe like 10-20%, which again, in the grand scheme of things, you're still going to mine things 3 times as fast. Well, filling up your mining holes 3 times as fast. So I'm really determined to see how much. 25%. Okay, so I got the number. It's 25% increase the mining holes, so a quarter more, which is not bad. From the leaks I've seen, the destroyer has 8,000. If that was 9,000, that would be much nicer. How much do you have? 9,000 right now, but that is going to be probably like 11,000. 11.5 after the update. Which again, not bad. This is drone, which has 16. I have no idea about the exhumers. Hulk, 11.5. 18.5. Mackinac, 31.5. So yeah, overall, the UI improvements are going to be nice, especially if they do, as they said they will, edit the other shit, because for combat that is going to be interesting, both PvE and PvP. Like frigate, this, that, you know, estimated okay, if it's only the ship estimated value, okay. But it would be really funny if, like, day one, they they screw it up and it's like estimated value with cargo hold. So you're like seeing little 500k like Tristan and you're like, estimated value 80 billion. I wonder what they have in cargo hold. Well, probably not. Still, yeah. Actually, let me check what do you need to be built. Required inputs, a whole bunch of raw material. Okay. Yeah, that is 400 half a mil for frigate. This war is going to be like 3 to 4 mil once prices stabilize. I mean, yeah, the low sec ores in high sec, the anomalies slash sites are going to be nice for newer players. But again, that early game is... Because when you do the careers, like those beginner missions, which are quote-unquote advanced tutorials, you have at the end like 50 to 60 million ISK, which is not bad. However, if I go like Galente, you cannot buy a battle cruiser. Okay, you can buy a cruiser and cruiser PV whatever has some tech too. Yeah, those so let's throw that out and throw all this navy stuff. So a cruiser will run you, let's say, 25 million. That's half of your beginner money gone. You can buy yourself 2-3 destroyers and like 5 or 6 frigates. Fit them, beginner fits. You might think to yourself, okay, that's not bad, but you also have to think skills, which resource processing, yeah. You need to level up mining to get more mining upgrades for CPU penalties. This thing, which I think is alpha, I mean omega, yep, yes it is. Astrology, astrogeology, which gives mining turret yield per skill level, so that's more yield. And it's required for the barges, yeah. Mining upgrade, all skills, yeah. And then you have like this, or reprocessing, which gives the bonus to like simple processing, which is now at level for 8%, which is not bad. You know, more reprocessing yield, 8% on top of normal reprocessing, which is currently at level 4 that I have 12%, so that is like 20% more ore. However, again, you're going to be capped by skill points, so you gotta be careful with that, and you cannot have everything unless you're Omega. Not to mention, again, as a new player, not only now you will have to get more skill points into mining, but also if, you don't want to go and die in low sec. You don't have that much money on your ships. It'll put you in a tight spot. Scanning. Now you gotta put skill points in scanning, so you can scan them and then get a ship, which, to be fair, you can get like this, which isn't bad. It's okay. Imicus is 7.5% bonus per skill level. If I'm not mistaken, can be only level 4 as alpha. So that's 11.5. Oh, I typed plus. So that's 30% bonus for an alpha. You can get yourself a navy, which is 10 million. Let's say another 10 million fit, which is 20 million. So if you want to have a cruiser and do higher level missions and the destroyer mining, yeah, you're going to burn money quickly. This is also core and combat scanner strength. I guess it's same. But Sisters of Eve, yeah, and Socom. Socom 37.5. So it's like having level 5, even though you cannot have level 5 frigates and all these other bonuses, which are nice. And Sisters of Eve is... oh, it's roll bonus. Okay, that is good. And you can have, Stratios, which also gives drone hit points and damage. Okay, this is cloak, this is more combat. Again, Socom, Metamorphosis is 71 million, Sunessus is 23.5. So, yeah, that is... Gnosis is 64 million. So, let's say for 30 million, you get a Sunessus. And then you get one cruiser. And that's your money gone as a beginner. But you're going to earn it, but I'm going to check with Asian. Level 4 mission is as you can do. You earn per mission around 1.5 million combat. That is level 4. Let's quickly go to level 2. Actually, let's check level 1, I think. So how much will I say for Sunessus? 30 million. What? You don't retract. Disappointed.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
One security. There's also social negotiations, which gives you more money. Social gives you standing, connections, understanding, diplomacy, so at level 4 I think that is high as negotiation, or 3, so this gives you more than it says here, so let's be generous and say 100k, because I think that's how much you would get from level 1. 100k. You need to do 300 of those missions. Even if we say double that, so 150 missions for, scanning ship, good for scanning the things to earn more money. That is level 3. Again, I'm talking here probably very early game. You'll want to go level 2 and then level 3 missions, because level 4 you need battleships and battle cruisers and those things. $70 million, $200 million. Cheapest one for now is 54. I mean, color space makes sense. So yeah.
Docking request accepted.
Okay, that is way better. 400,000. Let's say 500,000. We're going to be generous and say 500,000. 60 missions, level 2. Which sounds, easy, but each mission can last anywhere between 10 and 30 minutes, so that is, let's say 10 minutes per mission sounds good. 10. Let's go 15 minutes per mission. So 60 missions times 15 minutes, that's 900 minutes. Divided by 60 again for 15 hours to get a scanning ship. So you can mine and earn more money. And that's me being generous with the time. If you're looting and salvaging and other things, if you're just going in and out, and depending on who you are, maybe even money for ammunition. Let's see. This is 300. I don't know if this is good. Level 3 mission. Let's say 800k. You'll need to do 37.5. Let's say 37 to 30 level 3 missions. And obviously level 4 you get 2 million, so that is 15 missions. And that's just money for missions, no ammunition and whatnot, repair costs. If you get damaged and don't have repair. So that is again that is Synesys as your scanning ship. But if you go Navy frigate, let's see. Hera Navy issue. Yes. Good combat bonuses. What's the okay fit? Oh, you get only two. Ah, yeah, that sucks. Light. I think you can get Tech 2 light. Yeah. Let's go cheap. You wrong thing. You'll have the Tech 1. Regular cores, because we're poor. And Scourge missiles. That is not bad Alpha Strike, that is. Destroyer Alpha Strike, that is not bad, not bad. Let's put... Yeah, put 10... We're not going to use it that often, so we're putting compacts so you can schmoove shield. Let's say two of you. Two of you. Because, yeah. I don't know what to put also. Let's put tiny bit more tank. What? No, let's put the damage because why not? The compact is more expensive than the Tech 2. What? Okay, you can use Tech 2, okay. Tech 2. Okay. Let's say rigs. Small. For more strength. So that is going to cost you 15 mil. I mean, still you gotta do like 15 level 3 missions, which you need a good cruiser for. Which if we go here, like... I mean, this good cruiser, which is 70 mil, so yeah, it's going to take you a while to. You basically are gonna earn money to earn money. But overall, I really hope that this update is going to be good. I just wish there were. Maybe they are. I'm just being stupid on acquiring blueprints for industry. Not like the permanent ones, but like the charges ones. Well, we shall see.